Welcome to Lingo Domingo. I'm Tony Gaud, and words matter. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Today's word.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. How does Pat Largo? And then I'll answer.
Okay.
What's your process for writing material?
I'm kind of ready at any given time, like with recorder on my phone, like when it comes to ideas first, right? Because I don't know how many times you've done it. You had a good idea and you're driving, or you're in the bathroom or something like that. You don't have your phone with you or a piece of paper, and by the time you do something, you forget the premise or the body of it, and you go, Gah! So I have that ready. When I get the premise, I'm usually a home type of guy. I like being at home with my yellow pad, or like a nice big piece, like a notebook. I have like 4 or 5 different spiral notebooks at home, and I have different types of jokes in different notebooks.
So you divided it up already, like category-wise, into different notebooks?
Yes, I'll have like say clean jokes, dirty jokes, but I'll also have, it could be just like, I have like some categories like relationships, so that's all just relationship material. It could be any type of relationship stuff, or even stories of other relationships from people. Like say, the topic of sex jokes. It could be just work jokes. So I like to keep them all, because I hate when I have to go back and I want a certain joke and I go, and I've got a ton of papers and notebooks, and I go, where did I put that joke?
Well, now
so I try to do that.
Do you prefer? So you write it all out?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you prefer writing it out, or do you transcribe it after you've recorded it sometimes, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Into those notebooks?
Right. If I say it totally verbatim, A to B, and I'm done, like sometimes I'll do the whole thing and I'll transcribe it like that, and then work and massage it with stuff, or at least get the body of the joke on a recorder, or even just write it down and then work on it later. But I like to write every word down. Like, I love pen on paper, because it seems sometimes it makes it, your mind.
No, it does. It does click with your memorization.
It's
better.
That, or
it's
like
a fact. That's actually.
Is it a fact? All right, yay. But I like that, because sometimes it adds to the joke. Like I always tell people, once your hand and pen touch paper, it'll go by itself. And just let it go.
Something will happen.
And sometimes you'll come up with something even funnier, or a different premise or angle of the joke, and you go, okay, I like that, and just keep writing. So it could be, one joke can be a whole page, and then I'll go back and try and shorten it.
Edit it down.
Yeah, unless I'm doing a story with jokes. That's a whole different thing. But just a regular joke, I might have a whole entire page of stuff, and then whittle it down to maybe a 15-second, 12-second joke or something, maybe.
Well, now, are you going into that, like, do you wait for material to hit you? Do you be inspired by something you saw or heard or thought of? Or do you actively sit down and write? Or do you have like a particular theme in mind that you're trying to get after?
I was going to say both, but mostly when something hits me. I'm not good at, and I need to work on it, because we talked about this, of literally just sitting down every day. I think Danny Johnson talks about it.
Yeah.
He wakes up first thing in the morning after he puts water on his face. He sits down for an hour or half hour or 45 minutes and just writes anything.
Yeah.
So I got to get better at that. But that's where I talk about when it comes to the phone recorder or having a pen nearby, because usually it's in the car, but something just hits me. Or just something like, I talk to myself a lot. So I talk to myself, like people must think I'm on a Bluetooth or something, because I'm in my car. And sometimes I'll just say something and I go, hang on a second. This could be something, and I got to write it down right away and try to remember it. But I'm more of it comes to me, like, or I'll see something on TV or hear something, or someone says something, more observational in stores, and then write it down and go.
Yeah. I notice your material is definitely more observational. It's it's really capturing like what's going on, pop culture wise or social wise.
Yeah.
It's like you're very in tune with that more. With your material, so it seems like it's always it's very present.
Thanks.
For the most part,
I'm usually kind of quick. Like when it comes to my style, like I like to keep it. I do more of my stories now, like since my mom passed and everything, so I'm doing more family stories, and sometimes almost improv right there on the stage. But I feel comfortable because I know the stories,
Yeah.
so I'll add a couple of punchlines or a couple of little fudged punchlines, but it works with the audience. But usually I'm like, I like not like a one-liner guy, but I am more kind of set up, a couple extra words, hit them with a punchline. So like every maybe 7 seconds, 8 seconds or so, give or take, I want laughter.
Yeah.
Give or take, So I'm trying to do it. But yeah, you're right. Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm trying to look at everything from the outside, looking in at people or stories or how people do things or why they're doing that.
Yeah.
And it seems to be good though. But that's kind of what I do though. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And what about you?
It's not about everybody else. It's about me. I do my writing has evolved. I've been writing for a very long time. So eventually you find like your particular style.
Yeah.
Your particular process. And I used to do the thing where I would write every day, just writing stuff, whatever, anything, everything, from personal stuff to observational. But as I got along, I started to develop my process better. I started to hone in on what I was trying to say. I'm not so much into like the pop culture stuff. Like I can do those jokes, but I would rather develop material that I can say at any time, any year,
Right.
any stage, and people are going to be able to connect to it because it comes from a personal space. It's about an experience. It's not about a product, which is cool. And one of the reasons I don't do that much stuff like that is because so many people do. You don't need my take. You've already got it somewhere.
I'm following it. So really nothing too time sensitive is what you're right. We're just
I try to avoid the time lock because then you put
an expiration
date
Yeah.
on your material.
Right.
You start referencing certain things. That's like some of my material. I can go back. I've actually gone back and reworked it.
Yeah.
And just change the technology. The joke still works because at the core, that's the main thing is at the core. Is this joke funny? Is it relevant?
Right.
It's more important for me for it to be relevant to whoever's listening to it than for it to be over the top, hilarious because it referenced the iPhone.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You can change those things every year, but that gives you a core of your material that people are going to relate to you and they're going to identify you. So it's like I could do I got my I can do my ditch dog joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a classic. That's a part of that's like a piece. That's a signature piece. If I do the ditch dog, doesn't matter when I do it because everybody's going to be able to relate to that bit.
Right. Yeah.
The same thing with when I talk about working, day jobs and office work, that kind of thing. That's from experience. I'm talking from my own personal experience, but I'm also relating it to everybody who's ever worked in an office, whoever's taken a break out on the loading docks. So but I write, and a lot of it at this point, like I try to direct it towards a theme for like the new material for the new hour, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a particular show I'm trying to build right now.
Okay.
But I'll start off with as much of it written as I can. If it only comes to me like a single idea, like a line, I'll write that line down, and then I'll take it on stage and start writing on stage, working it out on stage in front of the audience, to find out where am I going with this.
Right.
Because sometimes there's a nugget, but you don't know where, why this came to you. But something in your subconscious is telling you there's a bit there's something you need to talk about. And you may find out that it has nothing to do with that initially. This is just the nugget, but where you go from there is completely different. But it's solid because it's like you're seeking something.
And I got not really a two-part, but I have a question for you. But it's true about, I think, when it comes to the joke, there's really no rules per se to joke writing. Like it's you're the Dr. Frankenstein, so to speak,
Yeah.
and you just mix and match parts, and you can just do things. It's your material, your joke. Just it doesn't have to, like Nick Swardson said, the joke doesn't have to be real.
No,
it
no,
just
it has to be funny. Yeah.
So
that's why they have the Laugh Lab.
exactly,
'Cause You're,
right?
you're experimenting.
Monthly
Yeah.
at the New World Brewery in Tampa. Check it out. Did you ever just improv something on stage, not go up like you said with the line and work with it? Did you just do your material, and maybe the while the audience is laughing at the joke, you just thought of something to go with it, or something that could go along with the joke, right there and then and there, and just said it, and it killed it, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm going to add this now to my...
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
You have to. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the thing about stand-up comedy and your stand-up routine is it's a living thing.
Yeah.
It's never done. The only time it's done is when you've captured it on film, you've videotaped it, and that's it. And you're not going to change it from there. But other than that, I mean, that's just like it's like a musician, a band. They're playing their album in a live concert. Then they go off,
Mm-hmm.
Then they have a friggin' jam session. That's not part of the album. But the same thing with comedy. If it hits you, if depending on how bold you are, say it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you build this stuff.
That's true.
Take a chance. Like there's things that had nothing to do with the bit that I came up with on stage.
Right.
Just because of the moment,
Correct.
Something clicks. So if you think of it and it's you think it's funny, you're the comedian. You're in charge of that show. Say it on stage, and then hopefully you can write it down, or somebody's written it down and you recorded it, because then you could work it in. Now you start to build on that. But I've done that plenty of times where I go up. I always leave room to go off script and to add to the bit and add to that moment. So
are you then more? I know you said you do some personal stories, but are you you're more story? Because you're not really a setup punchline type of.
I'm both.
guy.
I'm both. I'm what you call balanced.
Okay. All right.
I tell stories.
Yeah.
And I do short jokes.
Right.
I do bits and I do jokes.
Right.
I do one-liners, and I do personal stories. That's because you know why? That's because that's the kind of show I want to see. I write clean. I don't write anything out of if it's a dirty joke, then that's how it was written.
Right.
It's like if it becomes dirty on stage, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
But when I write it, I write the joke. I write where it's going to be funny, and I test that out, and then I build around that. Chris Rock, where he would go up with his notebook and he would read his material, and he would just read the jokes just to see if it works, see if the words work.
Right.
If you're getting laughs just by reading it, you're off to a good start.
Yes.
If you have to hide the joke in volume and in clowning, then it's not a fucking funny joke. Rewrite.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
But that's how you measure
wow.
it, because you can build around what's funny.
Okay.
If it's not funny in the first place, you're just building on a house of cards.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, and if it does, it's not going to work consistently.
Wow, that's pretty. All right, that's good. And I love knowing how different people do that, like Chris Rock. So I kind of feel good because when I did your open mic, and thank God you put me up last, so I literally went up there, folks, with stapled pieces of paper of jokes that I've typed on computer, literally probably some for 20 years old. Some of them were not time sensitive. I could still use them.
Yeah.
But I literally told the audience, I'm going to read these because they have not seen the light of day. And I don't have progressive lenses. I'm very nearsighted, so I've got the sheet literally up to here. It's a dark club, and I'm going like this. I love to lick the fingers and do the next page and go, all right, how about this one?
Yeah.
And I just read it. Some got some laughs, others did not get some laughs, but
Yeah.
now I feel good knowing that
But that's
that
it.
Mr. Rock does
You
that.
know,
Because
it's-
that's pretty cool.
It's those simple things, like when you're writing. It's like, if you don't know where you're going with it, that's fine. Just write. Because eventually you're going to uncover what you really have to say. All this other stuff is just you getting comfortable with the idea of saying your own truth. Literally.
Right.
That's all it is. It's like all the stuff that
True.
you write down before you get to the joke. That's the garbage in your head. That's the garbage in your head that's in the way. You have to get all of that out before you can start to think clearly about how you feel about shit and commit to it. Because that's it. That's what it is. Put it on paper and then commit to it on stage.
Very well put. That's exactly right.
Congratulations.
All right, now go do a joke.
Go do it. Let's
For
get
God's
out of
sake.
here.
Be
One is subscribe. Another one is like, comment, hit notification. And all of these words will help us grow as a channel. Back to our program.